Hello everyone. So before I start watching this video, I want to warn you that this technique only works the first time that the report is rendered. So basically when you open for the first time the report, you will see the animation, but not for the subsequent clicks until the report goes to its original state and the window is refreshed, the Explorer window is refreshed. So then your animation, once more it works, but not for the subsequent clicks. And now that applies for the different pages, right? So I explain in detail on the last 2 minutes of the video why is the reason of this, if you want to go and watch it. Now, if you are still interested on how this one is done, I will invite you to finish this video. Thank you very much. Hello everyone, good afternoon. So today I want to share with you how I create this effect that I earlier shared with you in LinkedIn. So this effect was done basically using 3 different tools. Obviously one of them is Power BI, the second one is Figma, but I also use one tool to modify GIFs. So let me show you how this is done and also why is this done like this. So the first thing that I will do is to head back to my Figma. And in Figma, I have already created these 2 different frames, each containing 6 different buttons, okay? Now, today I will not show or share with you how to create these buttons, but if you want to learn, please let me know in the comments and I will gladly create a video about how these buttons are created. Also, let me tell you that if you already have a design system like the one from the Vault, you can very easily create buttons just by pulling them from our assets and then just selecting which are the characteristics that you want from your button. Like in this case, you saw that I create very quick a button and just change the colors of it, okay? But let's go back to our Power BI effect that we were creating. So as I mentioned, we have these 2 frames that contain different buttons. And the next thing that we are going to do in here is I am going to go to layers. I will select the collapse layer. And in this case, I will select all the elements of the layer or all the buttons on it. I will change in here the location of our buttons from the y-axis. All of them need to be on 0. The reason of this is that we are going to use a prototype with the Smart Animate. So Smart Animate affects or has effects on the present or all the items that are included within the prototype, right? So we want this animation, and let's go back to our animation that actually hides and unhides the buttons under the first one. So in this case, we already make sure that all the buttons exist and they exist behind this plus button. And this way, what I will do now is that I will go to prototype, and in prototype, now I will select the frame that it's extended, hover over the button, and then you will see that you find this node in the button, right? So now this is what I will do. I will pull it to the collapse version. Now, if you don't see a plus, sometimes immediately appears a plus button in here. A play button in here. If you don't see it, I will right click on it and I will select add as a starting point. You will see that now we have this play button, which I will click now. So this will allow us to test our prototype. So now you see that the prototype is working. Oh, something which is important to mention is that while selecting the prototype, we need to make sure that the animation is in a Smart Animate. Okay, and this will give us, and Figma will create this smart animation that when you transition from one state to the other, it makes the elements from this state transition to the other, and it will give this smart animation. Now we need to export this animation. For this, I have already a plugin that is called in here that is called Export to GIF. Let me show it to you. It's this plugin that is down here. If you don't have the plugin, you will need to go to the Figma button, and in here you will need to go to plugins, and then you will find more plugins, and you will need to find and search export to GIF video, and this is the plugin that I am using. Okay, so now I will export to GIF the prototype that I already created, and I will click on export animation. Now this plugin, what it's doing is taking this prototype with Smart Animate, and it's creating the GIF of this prototype. Now let me head back to Power BI. And here in Power BI, something that I will do is that we will be using, for all this, we will be using a blank button. So in this case, our blank button, if we go to the style pane, what we will do here on the style pane is that we are going to deactivate icon, border, and we are going to use it as a field. Remember that when it comes to Power BI GIFs, you can display them using the button field. And in this case, I will browse for it, and I'm finding here my button. I will apply a field with transparency equals 0. Now you will see that our animation is running on a loop, and this is why we will need a different tool for breaking this loop. Let me just change also the field to match the Canva. Now we have our button in here, and you will see that it will be running on this infinite loop, and this is the one that we want to break. And actually we will break it using a different tool, and this is called EZGIF. So in here on EZGIF, what I will do is that I will choose the animation that we created. I will upload it, and then I will come here, and the loop count, I will set it to 1, and I will change the loop count. Now, as you see, now the GIF is only looping once, and this is the one that we want. So I right click, save as, and this will be the collapse version, right? Now let's go back to Figma, and in Figma, something else that we are going to do is that we are going to create a second prototype. Now let me click here on delete. I will right click on extended, and I will also delete the starting point. Now I will click on collapse. I will click on the button, take the node to the extended version, right click on the collapse frame, and then add a starting point. Now I can click on play, and we see how the animation is working, which is exactly what we want. Then I will come back to the design. I will export it. I will export the animation. And I will save as. I will just overwrite it because we don't need that one for many things. And I will come back to EZGIF. In ezgif.com/loop count, I will choose the file. Once more, I will upload it. And this is the one that it's expanding, right? I will choose the loop count to only have one. Only one. And I will change the loop count. Right click. And in here, I will save the image as. And this one will be expanded. Now I will head back to Power BI. Oh, I forgot, we are going to require one more frame. But in this case, we are going to take the collapse, and we are not going to use the plugin anymore. We are just to export it. And we are going to export as a PNG our collapse version. I will save as on my temporary folder. Now let's bring all of our items together. So I will copy this button. I will come to my format pane. I will come to style. On style, I will open field. I will browse. and I will select our collapse version. This will be fill, and that is correct. So now I will press Ctrl C, Ctrl UV. I will create the other version. And this, once more, I will go to the style. I will go to fill. This will be the expanded version. And this will also be set to fill. Okay. Now you don't see that they are looping because remember that we are uploading versions that only loop once. So you don't see this on Power BI Desktop. But we are going to need another one. And this other one, I will just put it to the left. So we know that this will be the first, the static, this will be the collapse GIF, and this will be the expanded GIF. Now for this one, I will come once more on the fill, and I will use the collapse, but in here I will use the PNG version of the collapse. Once more, this will be on the fill. So we have the 3 different versions. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to apply buttons to the top of every single button that we create in here. We are also creating additional buttons. So in here, what I will do is I will go to button. I will create a blank button, and I will set it on the top. We will remove these borders, but at this moment I will leave them just to see where they are, where these buttons are set, but we will make them transparent. Sorry, we don't need that last one. Now, the next thing that I will do is I will create groups. When working with bookmarks, and it's very, very recommended to create groups because it can get complicated quite quickly. And by creating bookmarks, you remove a little bit of that complication. So I select the first group and I will press Ctrl G to create this group. And this will be the collapse static. Then I will create the second group. I select the elements, Ctrl G, and this will be the collapsed. And then I will select the last group, Ctrl G, and this will be the expanded. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to create the bookmarks. So let me just delete these bookmarks that I created previously. And the first bookmark that we are going to do is that we are going to hide the collapse and expanded. So I select the 3 different items by pressing Ctrl on my keyboard, and I click on Add. Now on the bookmarks. Now I will remove the data, and this will only work for the selected visuals. For this type of interactions, it is recommended that you select these options that only for the selected visuals and not data, and this way you will not be impacting other bookmarks or other filters that might be on your Power BI report. Okay, now this will be our bookmark that is called collapse static. Now let's record our second bookmark. Our second bookmark will have the collapse GIF. Will be the one that is showing the collapse GIF, and I will add it. And in here I will add the collapse. I will rename it by collapse. Once more, I will no data and only the selected visuals. Let's just test them. So the static is not working properly, but the collapse is working fine. So the static, the issue is that it's not on hiding the static version. So let me go and try to update the bookmark. So now I make sure that I am selecting the 3 different groups that I want this bookmark to interact with, and I will update the bookmark. So let's go, and now we see that it's working properly. Now it's time to record our third bookmark, which actually will show the expanded. Now once more, I select the 3 groups. I will add a new bookmark. I will rename it. This will be expanded. And in here, I will only the selected visuals and no data. And we are transitioning through the bookmarks correctly. Now, let me just unhide all of them. And we will start applying the effects to the buttons, or the actions to the buttons. So the first thing that I will do is I will select the 3 buttons that are on the top of each group. I will go to Style, and I will remove icon and border, so we make them transparent. Now I am selecting the collapse static, and the action for the collapse static will be on, and it will be take me to a bookmark, and the bookmark will be the collapsed. Now the second button, which will be the button on the collapse GIF with a GIF, I will take it, and this one I will select that it actually takes me to the collapse. Sorry, this will take me to the extended version, to the expanded group. And then I will go to the expanded, I will turn on the action. This will be a bookmark, and this will be taking me to the collapsed. Okay, so now we can test them. Okay, they are working properly. Now this one, which is only the collapsed version with a PNG, is taking me to the one that is the GIF, and now between the GIF we are transitioning between these two. And I will tell you why we created the first one, and once we go to Power BI, it will be very, very clear why we created this first version. We needed this to create this first version of a static. Now we will place all the buttons on the same place. For doing this, what I always do, and I always recommend you to do, is that you place your first element, and to have a nice animation, we need to make sure that they are exactly at the same location, all of the elements, right? So now I select the first one, and I will come here, I will come to properties, and I will see that my position is 0 vertical, but the horizontal is 1224. Now let me unhide the rest, and we say that the position, the horizontal is 0, and the vertical is 1224. Or it was the other way. Yeah, it was the other way, sorry. So it was 1224 and 0. So now once more we can test them, and we see that they are working properly. Okay, great. So we are getting very, very close to have the effect. Now we want to save our Power BI report, and we want to save it on the static version. So I will go here, I will go to File, I will go to Save As on my temporary, and I will save it as GIF. Then I will open, let me just quickly open my Power BI. And in this case, now I will go here to my Power BI desktop. I have already in here my Power BI service account open. I will publish this report. Sorry, did I already save it? Oh, yeah, of course. We cannot save it if we don't have a data model. So let me just quickly enter data. Now I am just saving a table with no data, and now I can publish it to Power BI service. Now let's go and publish it to Power BI service. I will open the report on Power BI service, and then let's go through a couple things. So if you see in here, we have this GIF, which is perpetually looping through the effect, right? And this is not something that we want. We want this effect. So once I click on the plus, I see that I had it wrong. So actually, let's go back to our Power BI desktop. So from the collapse static, actually the button that we wanted to do is not to the collapse, but actually is to the expanded version. That's the one that I got wrong. I will save it again. I will publish it in my workspace. And let's try it again. And in this case, you will see once more, this one is infinitely looping. And then I will click here and it expanded, and I will click once more. And this one is also not working. Let's see why the expanded is not working. So we have in here the button. Oh, I didn't record the action, and the action will be to the bookmark, and the bookmark will be the collapsed. Let me save it. Okay, yeah, it seems to be working properly. Let's save it, publish it on my workspace, replace. Once more, let's go to test it, and we will see it opens and it closes. Now, in here, I want to tell you something, and unfortunately, this bookmark will only work the first time. Basically, you need to refresh, and every time that you open your Power BI report, that's when you will be able to see. The next time, you will not see actually the animation, the nice animation of hiding and unhiding the one, because basically what happens is that in the iframe, the animation already ran. And remember that we only set the loop to once. And if we don't set the loop to once, we will have this infinite loop that we also don't want. So basically the report will only run every time that you refresh your Power BI window. And that's on the first time that it will work. So today I show you how to create this animation. I hope you find this one useful. And even if you don't use it exactly as it is, I really expect that, I wish that this gives you ideas for creating your next awesome Power BI reports. As usual, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave in your comments below. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.